right, I'm back. Another day, another podcast. So have you ever wondered how people, humans, heal themselves? Maybe you saw them when you were younger or, some life stage that they were at, and they went through this big traumatic experience, and you look at them and think, how did they wake up in the morning? What was it that changed their life? What was that one thing that drastically shifted everything for them? Or how can they still have a smile on their face when they've gone through that tragedy? How do they inspire others? I used to think this myself. I didn't understand it. I would rack my brain and go, oh, how are they so happy? But now I get it. Too often, we're seeking outside validation for inside happiness. And the equation doesn't work like that. And what I have found working with women from all over the world for almost a decade is that these quote-unquote problems or challenges as women are universal. They might look differently, variation from culture to culture to culture. But at the core of it, our female brain manifests things differently than men. And I didn't know why I was put on this earth at this time to experience what I experienced, to be guided and called to help the women that I help. But now I realize that some of the challenges that women have are challenges, one, I've never dealt with, or two, I overcame. So when I was asked to do a keynote speech on how I healed after stage 4 cancer, my first thought was, I don't know, I just did it. But then while I sat down and I was writing, how did I do that? What was I doing? What made me different than other people? Not the ones that didn't quote unquote make it, because that's not my definition of healing. My definition of healing is life after cancer. My definition of healing is how you wake up every day going, I feel alive, I feel energized, I feel on purpose, I feel in alignment. How did I get there? Knowing that what happens to us doesn't have to carry into our future. So I have a list of my top 10 for you, and I think there's probably a lot more that I could add to this list. But these are the top 10 things that I know that I shifted during and after my diagnosis. So I'm going to share those with you today. But before we dive into that, I want to quickly share with you about Soul Elite. So behind the scenes, I've been actively thinking about this for a long time, feeling really guided and called to support these women, which I have in the past, but now making it public. So Soul Elite is a 10-month mastermind experience for high-achieving women. These are women who might feel a little lonely, lone wolf syndrome per se, where you want to find energy. You might start feeling like you're burnt out, low energy, you're give to everyone else. A lot of people, you hold a lot of responsibility for people, but there's also something deeper inside of you that wants more. You want to experience life. You want to feel alive. You want to feel connected to your family. You want to know that you're not failing as a mother. You want to find emotional freedom. You want to learn how to lead people and teach them how to take inspired action in their own life instead of chronically doing the work for others. So if this is you, and you find yourself maybe the 6 or 7 figure mark in your business, your career, wherever that looks like, but you know there's more. So you have it all. It looks fabulous on the outside, but you know there's more on the inside that you're looking to achieve. And deep down, you know that if you shift this, you're going to make an even bigger impact in the world. Then I invite you to head on over to momisincontrol.com and fill out that application and check off the box Soul Elite. We are now, we're accepting applications. We're also going through the application process. So after we read your application, you will get on an introductory call and we'll see if it's a good fit. This is a mix of coaching, community experiences, the strategy of it, the planning, the mindset, but also making sure that you get the support that you are seeking, whether it's with myself, my coaches, and my team, or someone else. So again, head on over to momisincontrol.com, fill out that application, click off or check off Soul Elite, and we will be in touch. Okay, so let's dive into today's podcast. So these are the top 10 things that I believe I've done since diagnosis 5+ years ago. Let me just give you a quick background. So I've been into personal development for almost 15 years now. Motherhood kind of catapulted me into personal development. What I've noticed is I was interested in a lot of things before I was diagnosed with cancer 5 years ago. I remember not yet diving into food, but I started making green smoothies and I was meditating and doing yoga. People perceived me as this holistic minded person. But there was a lot more going on the inside, emotionally, mentally, obviously physically, right? If there's tumors growing inside my body. So, number 1, I had to stop asking for permission or validation to dream big. I've said this before, and quite frankly, I can't believe this was actually a thing, and I didn't realize this, but cancer gave me permission to leap. I truly understood that life is too short. And so after being diagnosed and going through treatment, I literally gave myself permission to check a whole bunch of things off my list that I kept writing in my journal, but I never executed on. So I want you to think, where in your life are you asking for permission or validation from other people in order to dream big yourself? In order to feel good? Before cancer, I not necessarily knew what I needed to do to feel good, but I kept looking at everyone else and like, oh, they don't feel good, therefore I shouldn't. So dreaming big was stepping outside of everything that I knew. So part of that was giving yourself permission. Number 2, understanding that your parents have limitations and shortcomings. This is about becoming the person that you needed as a child. One of the first thoughts that I had when I was diagnosed was, maybe now my father will pay attention to me. And the truth was, he didn't. Through this process, what I've discovered is that emotional intelligence is a real thing, and it truly affects your children and how they feel emotionally about themselves. So by becoming a better version of myself emotionally, I've realized that my parents' emotional intelligence stops at a very young age, maybe 5, 10 years old. So if you have people in your life, or if you are this person where you get stressed out super easily, you cause a lot of drama in your life, this is emotional intelligence. So even though at the age or at the time of diagnosis, I was practicing emotional intelligence, what this did was give me permission to understand and see and accept my parents for who they were, and knowing that they were not going to change. That their shortcomings and limitations were not a reason for me to stay stuck and unhealed in my life. So that was number 2. I had to look at that shit and I had to see and accept my parents for who they were and who they are today, and not try to change them, but become the person that I needed as a child. Number 3, figure out what it means to feel alive. I had to figure out what it meant to feel alive. I often ask some of my clients this, like, tell me a time in your life when you felt energized. Tell me a time in your life when you felt joyful or connected. And sometimes it takes them a little bit. And they're like, well, I'm like, is that pre-children? Was this, when was this? And sometimes we have a lot of trauma in our lives. And I can't tell you, maybe I was like 4 or 5 years old, but I was a pretty young child the last time I felt alive. So when I was diagnosed and I thought, okay, here I am, might die, stage 4 cancer. What does this mean? What's the opposite of fear? Joy. Do I know what joy feels like? What is the opposite of death? Life. Do I know what it feels like to be alive? I was so used to the feeling of fear that I didn't even know what it felt like to experience the opposite. So I had to figure out what it meant to feel alive. I remember writing, what do other people do when they feel alive, when they feel energized, when they feel joyful? Well, maybe they go for a bike ride. Okay, I'll try a bike ride. Maybe they go on vacation. Okay, I'll try that. Maybe they hang out by themselves at a cafe. Okay, I'll try that. Maybe they hang out with friends and laugh. Oh shit, maybe I'll try that. It took me a really, really long time to allow myself to feel alive. But I was determined. Number 4, truly understanding the value of fear and how it works. So this is an interesting one. Unless you're being attacked by another human being or a wild animal, fear serves no purpose. But our bodies, just based off of our culture and how our brain was developed, is always in fight or flight. But truly, if you're sitting there reading a book or watching TV and all of a sudden you go into fight or flight and you are paralyzed in fear, this has nothing to do with reality. You've constructed and manifest worst case scenario in your mind, and now it's traveling into your body. I see so many women holding themselves back because fear of what their husband will say, or fear of losing, a friend, or fear of not having enough money. It's an illusion, this safety and freedom. So when I was sitting there going, this is actually true, I might die. This isn't an illusion. But I remember thinking to myself, you're not dead yet. Why are you acting like you're dying? Okay, you might die, but you have today. So what are you going to do about it? Number 5, respect your body by working out in a healthy way. So this is sad to say, but I've bought into the cultural norm and I'm a little bit of a rebel. So part of me, I wanted to work out because I wanted to feel strong. But the reason why I didn't work out was because I was perceived to be culturally skinny, meaning clearly not healthy. Skinny does not mean healthy. If you have abdominal tumors growing all over the place, you're not healthy. And you can even look at people and think, okay, they're healthy, they're skinny. I never had an issue with food, or not consciously. I'll get into that in a minute. But my point about working out was people would say, you don't need to lose weight. Why are you working out? And I would buy into that illusion and go, you're right. So I started working out because I wanted to feel strong, I wanted to be energized, and I wanted to create momentum in my life. So I had to learn how to respect my body by working out in a healthy way and realizing how culture projects its bullshit on you in the fitness industry. And knowing that sometimes even when you're paying people, like trainers or going to a gym, they've bought into that cultural illusion and bullshit perception. So it took me a little while to find people who had the same values that I did, that it was about health and feeling good and feeling strong. It had nothing to do with the way that I looked. That is just a natural side effect of taking care of yourself. And it doesn't matter what your size is, people can tell if you are healthy and taking care of yourself, not just physically, but mentally you glow. You glow. You could be 200 pounds and be super healthy. But if you're not taking care of yourself and respecting your body, your energy is going to show. Okay. Number 6. See food as fuel and medicine. So for many years, I didn't eat. I didn't think I had a eating disorder of sorts. It could be a subconscious thing. I just didn't know how to eat. And I picked up my eating habits from my mother. We grew up making bologna sandwiches, not having a lot of resources for food, and it just wasn't a priority. So I ate when I was starving. I ate when I was hungry. For many years, my gut health was off. I didn't even know what gut health was. And yeah, I would eat and I'd feel like crap. And I was so sick, so sick. This is why, for many years, I had to give up caffeine. I'm back on it, but it doesn't bother me because my nutrition is way better. And it truly is an individual journey. So, but post-cancer, I had to see that food was fuel, and that it was medicine, and that it can heal you. It didn't have to be something you needed to reward yourself with if you were good. It didn't have to be something you had to restrict if you were busy. Food is fuel, and if you're not fueling yourself, you're not going to get very far on what they call life, right? We put gas in our car when we're going for a road trip. I have no freaking clue why we don't do that to our bodies when we are go, 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 go all day. Number 7, assess why you're so angry, why you're so sad, why you're so resentful. This is why I left therapy, because I was so fucking done talking about the problem. I wanted to get rid of my anger. I wanted to get rid of the sadness. I wanted to get rid of the resentment. And I didn't know how. But every time I would speak about it, it would re-traumatize me. And I would get even more angry. Because after paying somebody to listen to my problem for 1 whole hour, I would leave there feeling like, what action steps do I have? And this is why when I'm working with women, it's all about strategy and action. And so when I started implementing this mindset shift and I started hiring coaches and mentors and people to help me, what I noticed was the anger went away, the sadness went away, the resentment vanished. Why? Because I wasn't focused on it. I was using it as a symptom to a deeper rooted problem. Why was I angry? I didn't have to focus on why I was angry. What I did focus on was underneath. How long have you been angry for, Heather? How do you want to feel? So I had to assess it, but I had to go to the root cause of it instead of just focusing on the anger. Instead of just taking anger management classes, which is putting, a Band-Aid solution. It was, how do you want to feel? What is the life that you want to be living? Awesome. Here's the plan. Here's the strategy. Now go do that. And then when my big emotions came up, I worked through that big emotion instead of trying to clear the past to make a perfect future. It's not possible. Number 8, observe your circles. Are they cheering you on or secretly wishing you'd fail? Are they jealous? This was interesting which will also coincide with number 10. But too often, I was always the smartest person in the room. And what I mean by that is not that I was legit the smartest person in the room, but I was always the person in the room that could help everybody else. I was the leader. So positioning myself with people where I was at in life or like-minded values or, like-minded dreams is so, so, so important. And this is often why we keep ourselves safe, because we don't want to change. You don't want to change your friends. You don't want to change your social circles. But all of a sudden you start looking around going, we have nothing in common anymore. People change, they evolve, they grow. It doesn't mean that you've lost respect for those people. It just means you no longer have anything in common, and that's okay. So since then, I now have many different circles. I'm also a little bit of like a hermit by myself. I just had this conversation with a friend the other day. She's like, "Where are you? You're never around." And I said, to be honest, I'm okay by myself. I don't need to be a social butterfly. So I have lots of circles and lots of friends, but I'm very cautious of who I surround myself with. Because the second I can smell that someone's jealous or they're trying to bring me down, I won't allow that energy in my circle. Number 9. Get crystal clear on how you want to feel and tattoo that shit on your forehead. That's all I got to say about that one. Get crystal clear on how you want to feel and tattoo that shit on your forehead. If you know how you want to feel, oh, here's my dog barking now. If you know how you want to feel, you will be able to reverse engineer that feeling and energy to sprinkle around every aspect of your life. If you know you want to feel connected in your parenting and in your relationships, you can reverse engineer that and create the life you want. And number 10, I'm in recovery from rescuing, fixing, and saving people. This is about empowering people and not taking on their wounds to heal. This is about empowering others and not taking on their wounds that they need to heal. This was a big aha moment for me, realizing that most of my life I've been a rescuer. I've been fixing people. I've been saving people. The pros of that are I can make shit happen. The cons of that are codependency. So in recovery from that, I've really had to consciously learn how to, what do they say? Teach a man how to fish instead of giving him a fish. And realizing that while we're teaching other people to take back control of their lives, not everybody is going to want to do the work. And that is where we have to be okay when other people are not willing to grow. So I hope this was beneficial for you, and I truly want to know what number did you resonate with. Head on over to Instagram. Check me out at Mom is in Control, or send us your feedback at support@heatherchauvin.com. And if you resonate with Soul Elite, you are the high achiever. You are the one that everyone goes to. Your soul is craving more. You want to heal. You want to become the best version of you. You are the game changer. You are the trailblazer, and so many people depend on you. And you are here to make an impact and make a difference. Head on over to momisincontrol.com, fill out that application, and check off Soul Elite, and we will be in touch for your introductory call. You got this, girl. You were born to make a difference.